أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين حجة بن حسن العسكري ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. So we said that with regards to prayers, it's quite simple. With regards to fasting of a person who is traveling, it's quite simple. It is not allowed in the month of Ramadan for anyone to travel less than 10 days and fast at the same time. As much as they may think they're competent of doing it, their intention is correct, it is not possible for them to do this. But as far as the issue of sickness is concerned and the ability to fast for those that are sick. Now there are certain ahadith that mention certain situations. For example, a person who is a sheikh or a sheikha, who are old, basically elderly people, or someone who's near giving birth, a pregnant lady. These people, or a person who's given birth, a lady who's given birth already, whose breast milk will be reduced by fasting, hence it would affect the baby and the baby's growth and the baby's health. So sometimes it's not directly to do with the person, it's to do with the other person. So for example, in the two situations mentioned with regards to the person being pregnant or the person breastfeeding, it's not necessarily for the health of the mother that the fasting becomes invalid, or at the very least she has permission not to fast, but it's for the case of someone else. It's for the sake of the baby, not for the sake of the mother. Now, when it comes to this situation, there are two ways of looking at it. First of all, a person who may think that the fasting will have detrimental effect on them, as long as they have the fear that there is detrimental danger to their body, to their health, they don't need to fast. The khawf, which is the fear of health risks, is enough.
That has to be rational, right? And you have to get a doctor to say it more.
The fear is down to the person depending on their own situation. So not all the time a doctor needs to say so. A lot of times the doctors are able to better than yourself. Sometimes a person knows their body better than someone else. So each case depends. But between yourself and Allah Azza wa Jal, you need to know that this will have harm to your body. So for example, having headaches, having nausea, becoming very tired, becoming very hungry, becoming very faint. These things are natural. Everyone goes through it. This is not harm. Harm is something irreplaceable. Harm is something where something detrimental occurs in your body's health system where it cannot be repaired, or that you can physically not take it. Some people can physically are not able to stay away from drinking and eating for that period of time. They physically cannot do it. It's impossible for them, especially when they become very old. Ala kulli hal. So if that is the case and you truly fear, and a substantiated fear, then you don't need to fast. If it is the case that is proven, for example, the lady is 9 months pregnant, she knows that there's going to be complications in the birth, or she's going to have not enough nutrients would get to the baby and will harm the baby before birth. And herself, because she's eating for two people, she'll become sick. And this is, if we imagine that this is a situation where it is proven, it's not something that is a might or maybe. Then in this case, we go back to the original discussion. that how can the person, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stopped you from doing this act, try to act upon it with the niyyah of qurbat Allah? Again, it's a contradiction. You can't say, I want to fast to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah has asked you not to fast. And Allah has asked you not to fast if there is harm to your body or the harm to the body of the baby which the mother is carrying. Now, who can substantiate whether how great the harm is? It's either the people that are in the know-how or the specialists in the hospitals that have told you that this amount of fasting is harmful. Again, fasting is different to different types of people. So it might be that someone is fasting in a country where they fast 9 hours, they're able to do it and there's no harm in them. Someone doing 16 hours, there may be harm to their bodies. So each person has to, yes?
What if there might be, مثلا, the doctor tells them, look, fasting might cause this for you. Even if they have a red, should they try it? And if it does, if they do feel bad, they stop it, or should they try it?
If a person has a fear that they will have detrimental health risks to their body, they don't need to do it. They don't need to do it. However, if they try it and they see that they can do it and it doesn't have any effect, then fine. They don't need to fast, that's the issue. Sometimes, and it's nothing across the board, so sometimes people think that, a girl is 9 years old, therefore she cannot fast and it's going to be unhealthy for her. That's not the case. Many 9-year-olds fast, and I know last year a girl in our family, she was turned 9 2 weeks before Ramadan. 2 weeks before Ramadan, she was 8 years old, just turned 9, and she was able to fast the entire month, alhamdulillah. And she was very petite. So it's not a case that every 9-year-old will have health effects, no, not at all. Just as not every 25-year-old, a young healthy person, can fast. It may be that the 25-year-old cannot for any particular reason, and a 9-year-old girl can fast. So each person has, yes?
If مثلا Allah مكنكم and for example you live in the UK now, we have fasting 18 hours, and for example someone can't handle that amount of time, but for example they have a house somewhere else, for example in South America, and they've got the money, is it better for them to go travel there where it's less hours so they can fast Ramadan and then come back, or is that not?
If someone cannot fast in a particular place in the world and they can fast in a particular other place, and there is no basically they can easily afford it, it's not going to financially bankrupt them and so forth, then most of the fuqaha give a fatwa that they must do so. They must do so. So, for example, and not only that, other people that, for example, we get in the Middle East, the bakeries, it's one of the hardest jobs in the summer, or labourers. The sun is hitting their heads, and it's very difficult to fast whilst working long hours at these sort of jobs. So they asked that how can we do this, and can we eat, basically, can we eat or drink? Now the answer here is this, that if the job that you're doing, you will be sacked from it, and by being sacked from it, it will cause you asran haraj, so extreme difficulty. Not that for a month you'll be jobless, or 2 months or 6 months and you find another job, no. Where your family will fall into extreme difficulty, you will fall into extreme difficulty, it's unbearable difficulty. Then no, but otherwise leave your job. Or make it so that you work for 11 months of the year, and 1 month you always have a break in Ramadan, so you don't have to work for that month. If you can do that, it's compulsory to do that. Not work for that 1 month, so you fast. If your job is so difficult that you cannot fast and work at the same time. So it's not a case of someone has a difficult job, they don't have to fast. No, they have to fast, they need to change their circumstances to fit around that. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that everyone falls into the same category. So we said that older people, for example, altogether, all they need to do, as we read in the ayah, is pay a fidya. muddun min ta'am miskin, so it's just the feeding of one poor person. Because already they know they're not going to fast. Whereas those people who can do it, they need to do a qada. They need to redo their fast. If they don't redo the fast for 1 year, then they pay a fidya. So we had someone in the court yesterday, said that they wanted to pay the fidya for 30 days of Ramadan because this Ramadan they're not going to be able to fast. You can't pay a fidya for Ramadan before it's even come, because you don't know whether you can fast or not. Because she was in a situation where she was harmful for her to fast, she automatically decided to pay a fidya now. The fidya only becomes wajib, or the qada sawm only becomes wajib after it's finished. It's like praying before the adhan has gone off. If you pray before the adhan, your prayer is invalid, regardless of how much you wanted to do this. It must be that the action is passed, and then you pay the consequences of whether it being a fidya, being a kafara, doing a qada fast, or if you don't do the qada fast, then doing the kafara ta'khir, and so forth and so forth. So, that being said, there were certain furu' and certain discussions to do with this. We'll carry on the next session, inshallah. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Muhammad wa ala bayt at-tayyibin at-tahirin.